Oh, the weather outside is frightful. And hi everybody. All right. So, how's everybody doing this evening? Are you guys out there ready for a interesting live stream tonight? Let's go back up here and just see who all's in here.
T-Ward and Max just joined us aboard.
I'll catch them when I get down there. I'm going to scroll down from the top. So, Courtney, White Family Farm, and she's going to be coming up here and joining us here in a little bit. Michael 58. Chit chat. Maccabeus, off-grid everyday survival. Tibor, Kalen Strain. Okay. Oh, we got a bunch of lurkers because with the numbers I just counted off in names, we got a bunch more out in the side out there just lurking, watching. So lurking's right. Okay, guys. It's okay.
Courtney said she didn't get the link.
Oh. It should have been in that email because that's the same email I sent to Uncle Al, but give me a second here and I'll throw it up here. Creative redundancies in here. Come on. There we go. Raven Cat Homestead. Cecilia.
Hi, Cecilia.
All right. So it'll post here.
It did.
It did. All right. There you go, Courtney. Martha, old school prepper, is lurking because she's working at the same time. And T-Board reminds everybody, hit the thumbs up. All right, so tonight, what are we talking about tonight? Well, let's go over here to the enlarge the side screen here. And we're talking wintertime again. Winter clothing, myths, and outright lies about it. And so we're going to be getting into some of the myths about clothing and some of the outright lies that we've been told by a certain industry. And just to remind everybody, this is part 9 of the Wilderness Preparedness series. First one was getting ready for winter, what you forgot to do. Number 2 was what do you have for winter backup power? I'm talking about heating, emergency or not. What are your choices? Welcome to 2021 and cabin fever. Talking about dealing with being cooped up in the wintertime. Cooking in disaster, no power, gas, or wet firewood. How much is enough? Balancing your preps. What do you need for winter storm preparations? Natural disasters that change the weather. And then we had the addendum to part 3 was the Mr. Buddy portable heater review. And Mary Beth Smith is in the house.
Right, and JUFM.
Hey, Jay. All righty, so the next thing down here. Isn't that a beautiful scene, folks? All that nice, fresh snow gathered on the branches, gathered around, getting several feet deep until you got to clean it off your car.
Yep.
All right, so if you got to go out there and clean the snow off your car, you want to make sure you're wearing the right clothing the right way. And there is some flat out lies that people have been being told about certain things, and we'll get into that about how to wear clothing. There are people forgetting the way that we used to wear clothing and the proper way of doing it. So So first of all, guys, I'm going to hit you up first before I start showing pictures of everything. What are your favorite materials for the wintertime? Tip Top Farm is in here. So, guys, what do you like to wear out there in the snow and the sleet and the nastiness to keep you all nice and warm? All right. Michael fires it off with the first thing, layers. And Martha fires back with wool. CR says silk and wool, just like you were talking about beforehand, Al.
Yep.
Tibor is a combination fella. All right. So one of the things we used to be taught back years ago when I was a youngster was layers. Don't just have one super heavy duty coat. And when you get too hot, you take that off and you freeze to death. No, you have layers on. All right. And then Martha says wool. Jay says wool, wool, wool. And Michael's wool and silk. Cecilia has knitted stuff. All right. Oh, hey, hang on. We got a special guest here. We have Gunslinger Outdoors.
Hey, Gunslinger.
The man, the myth, the legend.
How you doing, guys?
All right. Hey, Courtney, I put the link in the chat here so you can come up. Now, guys, I specifically sent the invite to Gunslinger Outdoors here because in some of his videos, I've seen him out there in some nasty weather out there doing camping. And here's a man who does it currently.
Yeah. If you want to say that.
Yeah, for fun.
It's been quite a few years since I've done winter camping.
Well, it's not for everyone.
No, but it can be fun if you do it right.
Right, and also could save your life, like that snowmobiler in British Columbia who made that snow cave and lived out through that storm for 3 days.
Yeah. Hey, weather can kill you quick, that's for sure.
Oh, no kidding.
So what's your favorite stuff to wear?
Depends on the situation, honestly.
There it is. That's just I've been waiting for that. For someone to say the situation.
Well, if I have all my gear, then it doesn't really matter. If I have a hot tent, as long as I have an axe or a saw, then I'm good. But getting there, man, down, wool, man, all that. But it really depends on what you're doing, Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's. I'm a very opinionated person on certain things, and it's going to come out tonight. So if I offend anybody, I'm sorry. But I've been doing wilderness search and rescue since 1973. As a scout, I got involved with a group that did it on the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. And if you ever know what the North Rim of the Grand Canyon is like, you're at 7,500 feet, and you can get 3 feet of snow overnight. And it is colder than, as my grandmother, so I'm quoting my grandmother now, colder than a witch's tit.
Yeah, it definitely is. I've actually been there.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint at heart, that's for sure.
Yeah. And believe it or not, out there, all the guys on the team wore cotton, wool, and cowboy boots, dusters, and cowboy hats. And the neat thing about a cowboy hat, if you think most people don't realize it, a cowboy hat, a good one, is labeled 5X beaver felt.
That's right. It's beaver fur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of people ask me why the cowboy hat, and I say, on the trail, they make a cowboy hat for every situation. But one of the biggest things, if you get a good one, is, when it's raining or snowing, that's not going down your back. So
Yep.
And let me show you the trick that Gil's grandfather, my great grandfather, used to do. I got to take off the headset. Okay, you take this. And then you tie it like that. You put on your, oops, sorry folks, you do this, you put on your cowboy hat. Before you wear your coat, before you wear your coat, you make sure everything's secure. Then you put your coat on. If it's a cowboy hat like Gil's, you put the excess material inside your jacket.
If it's a ball cap, you want to leave it out so it keeps the stuff from going down inside your jacket. But with a good hat like this, it's going to keep the snow off from going down your neck and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
All right. One of the interesting things was when I was, up there on the north rim of the Grand Canyon, so like I said, we were wearing Levi jackets with the wool horse blanket lining in it, the stuff that you got to pay over, $120 to get nowadays.
Worth it.
Oh yeah. And we'd wear wool long johns with Levi pants over it. And we have our cowboy boots on. And, because a lot of times we were riding horse going out there because, in some of those areas, you don't want to be taking a snowmobile around amongst the trees of the Kaibab Forest on the North Rim there.
Oh, plus it's a big hole.
Yep.
And the horse provides heat too.
Yeah.
And then of course, if it was snowing or raining at the time, we'd wear our dusters over that. And the dusters, the good ones that the guys had were the ones that had the whale oil in them rubbed into it. I mean, there ain't no water getting through that.
No. Dusters are often overlooked, especially nowadays. Actually, everything that the old ways are pretty much overlooked nowadays. And that's sad because they worked. I mean, fur is still probably, we're talking about wool, but fur is still probably one of the best insulators that there is.
And Mama Z's in the house.
Hey, Mama Z. Everyone, it's not until Saturday, so we'll announce that on Friday night. I try to remember to hit her up on Friday night to remind everybody that she's cooking Saturday morning.
Yep.
Now, the most interesting thing of when we go out to rescue people, guess what these people were wearing?
Shorts.
Synthetics.
It's always synthetics.
Yeah.
Always.
Ooh. And that's what in the title, the outright lies we are told. Cotton kills is BS. Synthetics is the best thing out there. Bigger BS. Now, behind me here, this orange line jacket here is actually a parka. My mom bought that for me Christmas 1973 on the North Rim, first Christmas on the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. For the first month or two until the coating on it wore off, it was pretty water resistant. After that, if I was wearing that and it started to rain, I was drenched to the core because that's 100% polyester. It would just soak it up until it worked its way through my cotton and my wool and everything else that I was wet. Now, if I was wearing my my denim Levi jacket with the horse blanket in it, the water more or less would roll off more than it did the friggin' polyester parka. I still keep it around because if it's not raining, it's a great wind block, and it's lightweight. It weighs about half as much as the Levi does. And then over here on the other side here is a more modern version. And it actually has a hood on it, just like the parka does. 100% cotton exterior, 100% polyester interior. All the good jackets I've come across lately, the exterior is always cotton. Interior is polyester, unless they're the really good ones. Then it's either got the sheep wool on it, or just regular wool lining in it, like the horse blanket ones. And there's that's my pet peeve is I hate synthetics as an overruling. It's God's gift to man. No, it's not.
Please.
Nature is God's gift to man. Right,
Okay,
Dave?
Well,
My 25-pound leather coat is God's gift. Okay, it's real, genuine cowhide, and I can wear that and a sweatshirt underneath it and jeans, and I'm toasty warm in 0-degree weather. While y'all people down south and out west freezing half to death wearing parkas that are 14 inches thick, thinking you're all warm. I'm up in Michigan wearing a t-shirt and shorts in the middle of February. All right, being acclimated to your surroundings is an important factor. Okay. Yep. I don't care what kind of clothes you've got. You can have the most expensive wool, fleece, down, whatever. If you're not acclimated to your environment, kiss it goodbye. Okay. Yep. Being acclimated. You're not going to get acclimated though, unless you get your butt outside and do something. All right, so go out and cut some firewood and get used to that cold weather as it's starting to get cold. That way, from December into January, your body is used to it. Now, us people from up north, that's what we got to do, because we spend three-quarters of the year sweating our rear ends off because we like the cold. So we have to reacclimate ourselves back to the winter where we like it. Now, a question was brought up, what a woobie is. I shared a screen for you, Gil.
Yeah, I got it up there. So the woobie is the
poncho liner.
Yeah, poncho liner. That's great to use and stuff.
They work great. There's no denying a woobie. Nope. That's another thing, boy. Military surplus. If you're on a budget, man, you got to look in the military surplus.
I'm trying to remember who it was. It's just someone within the last week had mentioned that they were getting stuff at military surplus, and she was picking up the wool army blankets, and she get them like for $2 because they had a tear in them or a cut or whatever. No big deal, she said. She just sew it back together, and $2 for a wool blanket, or even you can't beat that.
Couple $100 for a good new one. But wool is one of the few fabrics that even when it's wet will keep its heat. Mm-hmm. And many people don't realize that, which is, again, that's with this new way of thinking where everything, technology has surpassed truth, nature. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's saying is, you look at it back in the beginning when they first started coming out with the polyester coats and everything else, they're talking about it. It's cheaper and it's just as good as natural fiber. That's what's the selling point. It was as good as natural fiber. Well, hey, natural fiber I think is better all the way around.
Right, and it doesn't catch on fire either. Like those guys in the British Navy, he said these are waterproof and cold proof, and then they caught on fire and burnt to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nature definitely has it figured out, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean they've had millennium adapting and developing and getting it just right. Wool and leather, and that's one of the things. Brings up one of the things is I actually have. I was going to bring it out, and I forgot. I left it hanging up in there. I got a leather jacket with the wool. Brushed wool liner in it, so it's a soft wool. I mean, it's been brushed and stuff, but it's a dress one, so it's not usually what I go out with. I got it for fancy stuff, but
and it's not that thick either.
Oh, it's thick and it's heavy.
Well, the coat may be heavy, but the leather itself isn't as thick as say what mine is. Mine's a riding leather. Mine's designed. If I fall off the back of a motorcycle or front of a motorcycle and I go skipping down the highway, I'm not going to get road rash.
Right.
That's what this one's designed for. And therefore I can put a sweatshirt underneath
like a set of chaps.
Mm-hmm. And it's, the wind don't cut through it.
One of the things that I've always wanted to get, I almost got it once. I got that fancy one instead, was a sheepskin jacket. My dad had one, and he had oiled it with mink oil, and he'd go out in the worst weather, and my dad, skinny as a rail, 5'10", 155 pounds, wet. And so the wind would just cut through him normally. He put that sucker on, and he'd go out there and work in the sleet and everything else, and never bothered him.
Oh, Kaylin, it's the old school bomber jacket with the wool. The new one with that plush stuff, nobody likes it. That's why you can get it so cheap. Blech.
Yeah, if you want a cheap one, go on Wish. You can get them all day long for about $25.
Yeah, and you'll get it in a year.
Yeah, and nobody.
I get good shipping from them. I get it within 2 weeks. But I almost signed up to be a spokesman for them, so almost.
All right. Courtney's husband, which is Dustin, says I have a everyday carry. No, ECW trigger finger glove with wool liners. Yeah. All right. So one of the things here, I'm going to go to the next back here to this. So stuff I like cotton, I like wool, I like rubber, and I like the cotton wool blends. Synthetics, pure synthetics, no, that's why I got an asterisk after this. If the synthetics inside the cotton or the wool, it can provide a little bit, some nice, soft, fuzzy, comfy against your skin. But generally, I like sticking with cotton and wool blends. Let me click down here. Next one. The only 100% synthetic thing I like are the Gore-Tex Gators. Mm-hmm. And usually I only wear those when the snow is, mid shin or higher to help keep my pants down tight around my boots and stuff to keep the snow out. Gators provide practically zero heat retention.
That's why you need Mickey Mouse boots.
They keep the water out, and they allow it to breathe. They breathe a little bit, but they have no heat retention. But that's not what I'm wearing them for. I'm wearing them to keep the snow out.
I'm old school. Go ahead.
Gore-Tex outer layer is hard to beat because it does breathe. It's kind of like canvas in a way.
Yeah. I'm old school. I like the wool putties. I know how to wrap those things up, dry them off, put them back on, because my nephews bought me Gators and I fell into the wash tank 4 or 5 times because they forgot to close the gate. And you know what it's like getting out of the wash tank and your Gators are full of what?
Don't even want to think about it. Now, for the cotton fabric, back in the 70s, we actually sprayed our Levi jackets down with the Scotch Guard fabric protector because it repels liquids. Well, then they improved upon that, and then they created Water Shield, even better protection. And now we have heavy duty Water Shield, which I got to get some for my black Levi jacket there. And for those of you, they do have water and sun, so it protects it from the UV rays and other stuff at the beach. I just had to throw that one in there to be funny. But
for when you're sun tanning, right?
Yeah.
Then you'll be water repellent.
Dustin, it's not mud.
Yeah. Yeah. It may be brown, but it ain't mud. Now, this is interesting. This is not. This is a 100% outer cotton denim, 100% flannel, cotton flannel on the inside. Still more expensive than that synthetic liner I have on that one. And this is the one I grew up with. This is what I was talking about, the horse blanket, the wool horse blanket in a Levi jacket. This thing, cheapest I've been able to find this is $129. But it's fantastic. If you
Well,
find one,
that's the problem with down though, is because when down gets wet, it loses its rigidity and you'll get cold. They're great as long as you keep them dry. But this, it's, you can get wet and you'll still retain heat.
Yeah. Now this is, in my opinion, this, and everyone can chime in against it if you want to. This is probably the best all-around jacket to have.
I disagree, but
Dave likes leather.
Yep, I do. I can fall in the snowbank, get back up, and wipe it off. The water runs right off that leather. I don't have to worry about sealing it. I don't have to Scotch guard it. I don't have to do none of that because it's natural. Water just rolls right off of it.
But leather does soak in water. So
if you don't pay attention, it will. If you walk through a pouring rain, which I've done with my leather, after about an hour, it starts to get a little wet. But for the first 45 minutes, I'm okay.
But I'm out for days, so
Right.
Dave, do you wax your coat?
Nope.
You don't wax your coat?
No. But this all boils down to one key. Like I said, you got to be acclimated to your environment. That not only goes for your body, but your clothes. If you're not wearing the proper clothes for the environment, if you know you're going to be outside for 5 days and you walk outside with synthetic, just turn around, go back in the house.
Yeah. But that goes back to the scenario.
Right. But, I wasn't here for that part.
Oh, okay.
But, if you know you're going to be outside, if it's BFE out there and it's Tutwicky and you've got 250 miles you got to go, well, you're going to be outside for an extended period of time. And if you know that the seasons are going to change, you're going to have to take along the appropriate attire. So that means a little bit of leather, so a lot of wool, a little bit of cotton. And I will say one thing, and just we'll go against the grain a little bit. I do have a synthetic jacket. It's actually a liner to a cloth jacket I have. Now, if I know I'm going to be outside working and sweating to death, I'll put that underneath my leather jacket. So I've got a synthetic on the inside, leather on the outside. Protects me from any wind. But when I start working up a sweat, I'll take the leather off so the synthetic will breathe and I can expel excess body heat without freezing half to death. And then when I'm done, I'll put the leather back over the synthetic. So having a mix is not a bad thing. Just make sure you know what way you're going to layer it to protect yourself from the environment.
And to tie on to that, mentioned earlier about down, that's where I think a nice down vest works, is to go underneath. It goes over your Pendleton wool shirt or your heavy duty 100% cotton shirt. Put the down on and you put your jackets on, you layer. It's layers is what works, because you can be able to take some off without freezing your butt off instantly. So I've seen
Dave brought up a good point though. If you sweat, you're dead.
Yeah.
If you're in freezing cold, you sweat, you die. So layers is definitely key.
Yeah. One of my favorite
and by the way,
layers,
I can't see the chat, so
okay. All right. Is anything, if anybody says anything to Gunslinger, let's shout it out for him.
Okay.
One of my favorite things, layers, wool outside, 100% wool outside, 100% cotton liner. The only synthetic is the elastic band at the top. These are my long johns.
Yep.
And that's one of the things when I'm going to be out in the snow for a long time, I'll wear. I think last year, I think I wore them maybe 3 times up here last year, out there all the time. I was shoveling snow and doing everything else. I only wore it 3 times last year.
Yes.
And it was down to 0 here quite often. Now.
Yeah, I think we had 40 below last year. That was our great day.
A frog suit is not a bad idea. The problem with a frog suit is if you're layering up suit, okay, let's say I need to go out and cut wood. and I'm in a grid down situation. I'm trying to fabricate a cabin. Okay, that frog suit will keep me dry, but it ain't going to breathe.
Right.
Okay. So if it's snowing when I go out there and start, I'm good. Problem is frog suits and other nylon and rayon and all that other crap, ion stuff, limits your mobility. It doesn't flex like some regular, natural stuff. So again, it boils right down to your situation, but I do not recommend a rain suit of any kind unless you're in the rain.
Yeah.
Your mobility is compromised. And coming from somebody who's used to crawling through ditches and stuff like that, if your movement is compromised, just quit. Go back home and get somebody else to do it, because you're not doing it right in the first place.
All right. Let's see if I can bring this here back up. So I started looking at some of the rain suits out there. Now this
your girlfriend needs a pair of pants on, Gil.
This is City Slicker rain gear. If you look at the hood, you can actually see it's kind of translucent there. All right, this is not heavy. This is light duty. And then this is your medium duty ones. You can pick this up at Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware. Comes with the detachable hood on it. But you just looking at it, you can tell. Okay, yeah, it's the better than that other one.
I'm sweating just looking at it.
I've spent many a day wearing the super heavy duty ones out there in the rain in South San Francisco, where you think you're in the Arctic Circle, because when that fog comes over the hill and it's drizzling, oh, geez, you want to talk about a 70-degree wind chill factor. And
I can't wear nothing like that because I sweat way too much. I sweat really quickly because of my metabolism being so high. I can't wear anything like that.
What's neat about this is it has the vents. It does have vents in the back, and this is what our company would buy us. The ones that had vents in the back, it had vents in the underarms, and so it breathed a little bit, so you're not totally stifled with some of the other ones. But I just want to say, there's certain times where if all you're doing is walking from point A to point B, checking the fence line, just checking things out, and it's bad weather out there, this can be a great tool to have. All right, let's go over. We're missing some things off this list. Obviously, Uncle Al and I found that I boo-booed because I was in a hurry. I was trying to get up on someone else's live stream earlier, so I skipped some stuff. So long johns we talked about. Socks. What's your favorite type of socks, guys?
Well,
Straight cotton.
Well,
yeah.
Right.
But mind you, if I know I'm going to be walking an extended period, I have one pair of boots that's actually a half size too big for my foot. I'll put on 3 pairs of cotton socks, and I always carry 3 extra pairs. And after an hour of walking, I'll swap out 2 pairs and hang the other 2 pairs off the back of the backpack or whatever to air dry if it's not a wet situation. But that way I rotate them. That way my feet don't start to blister and they don't get overly sweaty. But I'm allergic to wool. That's why I don't have any. If I have wool on my skin, I will break out in hives faster. You can say, what the hell happened? So
That's what
I have to make accommodations to what I wear, which is why I don't have a wool jacket. I got a leather jacket, and I just wear synthetic underneath it if I need to.
This is something I picked up, Kirkland. That's Costco. So this is the I can get right there so you can see it's the I can't even pronounce it here. The wool sock blend.
Merino.
Yes. When they first came out with these, the percentages was 80% wool, 19% nylon, and 1% elastane, whatever, the elastic stuff in it. Then after the first year, these are now 72%, so that's 8% less wool, 27% nylon, and 1% elastane.
Okay.
These are a little bit thinner, and they're not bad. I've got 6 packets like this that I picked up when Costco thought they were going to discontinue them, but now they got them back in stock.
Hey, Courtney, you just fibbed. You would never put yourself in a position to be cold, yet you live, I'm not going to say exactly where, but here in the Buckeye State, far north of where I am. And you have lake effect. So you fibbed. You did put yourself in a position to be in that kind of cold.
Now, one of the other type of wool socks I got, this is Woolrich. This one is 88% wool, 10% stretch nylon, and 2% lycra spandex.
Also, folks, when you buy these type of socks, I know Dave's allergic to wool, but each wool sock has a different, this is my hat that I wear. It has a different, knit pattern to it. So tighter the knit is, the better your sock is. And if you have, sweating issues, you wear silk socks. You wear the silk sock first, then you put the wool sock on, and then you put your boot on.
Yeah. Now, here, I'm going to jump back in the Wayback Machine again. So I told you that parka back there. My mom bought it for me for Christmas, 1973. She also bought me these tube sock wool socks. These things are thick, heavy duty. Hang on a second. I'm going to freak everybody out. I'm going to make me big here. These are heavy duty, thick wool socks. I mean, yeah, I wore the heck out of these up there on the Grand Canyon.
Hunting socks.
Yeah, Tibor, that hat, well, they look cool. I may get disagreed with here, but you want to talk about the warmest hat there is? You get a Russian hat from Siberia. The military hats for the troops in Siberia will roast your brain. They are so warm.
Yep.
And they're natural animal fur, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not like this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and drop this out of there and take us back to this.
It's not like this. This is like the Chinese use. The Soviet uses a completely furred hat, like Dave says. I had one, but I sold it because it's worth a lot of money. Those ain't cheap either.
No, the last one I seen that was genuine issue, USSR military issue from, I want to say 77, 78, was $380.
Yep.
Now I'm going to get it back on my pet peeve wagon here again, guys. Sorry.
Go for it.
Oh, great.
All right. Head. Ski gloves. All right. 100%. Every outer shell, inner liner, everything. 100% polyester.
Tinsel
it.
So thin you wish you had something on your skin.
I'm just,
God, what a piece of.
This is fairly, it feels all nice and squishy, and this is going to be nice, toasty, warm. Till about a half hour outside, and all of a sudden my fingers are getting cold.
Yep. For your hands, wear mittens.
All right. So these are, put it on here. Oh, wrong hand. All right. So I have my wool finger gloves here, but it also has a pull-up over mitten on it, which does have Thinsulite on it. But I can wear this out there, driving the tractor, shoveling the snow. I've done it for 3 or 4 hours, and my hands are toasty warm when I come in. The right thing on the right part of your body helps keep the whole body warmer.
And here's another little tip too. For people who have never been through cold weather training, when your feet are cold, guess what? You better cover up real fast. Anybody on the panel know?
Your feet and your head.
When your feet are cold, it's your head that's actually cold. Right. If your feet are freezing, your head is cold because your body is pumping all your blood to your brain because that is a primary area for your blood to flow. So if your feet are cold, cover your head. Your feet will warm back up. Do not make the mistake of saying, oh, it's my feet, and try wrapping your feet up because, well, you're not fixing the issue.
Yeah.
My recommendation, if you have not done any kind of cold weather exploration of any kind, get the U.S. Army, the Marines, including the Navy and the Air Force. They also have cold weather training. Get a hold of their manual for cold weather training. Okay, there's a PDF manual for it, and just read it. You don't have to go out and do it. Just read it. At least get the thought process into your head of what you may need to do.
And what Michael said here about a kidney wrap, you've seen those back brace things, those elastic things you put around your back and stuff. They have them that are just, with a wool or cotton or the whatever type of liner stuff on there. Helps retain the heat of your kidneys because you're actually, besides your head, that your kidneys is an area that radiates a lot of heat. And I know this for a fact because I've snuggled up to my wife and all that warmth coming right off her kidneys.
Now, folks, you have to be careful with this. The Japanese did this in Russian-Japanese war. They wore kidney wraps. And when they became prisoner of war of the Russians, they took the kidney wraps, and guess who died from exposure? Because they're wearing 18th century uniforms. They froze to death.
Yep. All righty. And let's see, what else we got here? Okay, so question is, folks, what else do you think you need that we haven't covered?
Did you cover boots?
I was going to say boots.
Boots. That was the other thing I was missing off the list there.
Okay, my recommendation, if you're going to be in an extended period of cold weather, go out and find yourself, as funny as it sounds, Mickey Mouse boots. I'm telling you, I used to work with liquid oxygen with my stepdad, and liquid oxygen is one of the coldest things known to man on Earth. And you can walk through that crap in Mickey Mouse boots. Okay, I don't recommend it because shit freezes, but you can walk through it. You can walk through the vapors with no issues. Your whole body will freeze half to death, but your feet will stay nice and toasty in them Mickey Mouse boots.
Yeah, that's all I use. That or mucknucks. Mickey Mouse boots or mucknucks. However, Mickey Mouse boots, you should put them on in the house, get your feet warm, and then you'll never get cold, ever.
Yep.
They kind of need a little bit of a warm-up time.
And
But that's all I use.
And Sean says they call them bunny boots.
Well, the Mickey Mouse bunny, I've heard them, and then every white or black is what they come in.
Yep.
So.
And all I've ever had were white, because the very first pair I got was given to me by my stepdad when he started taking me on his truck to do liquid oxygen hauls. Then I had a pair for cold weather training in the U.S. Army.
Yep.
Check something here.
With the pressure relief valve.
Mickey Mouse boots. Let's see what it brings up.
Well, Dustin, I would recommend finding either a Chinese military or Russian military parka hat. Those fur-lined hats, not only do they look nice, they keep you toasty.
Oh, yeah. Or like, I prefer my old-fashioned number foot hat.
Yeah. All right. Is this what you guys were talking about?
Yep.
Yep.
That's them.
Okay. So
They're ugly as hell, but they warm.
I like it.
Yes,
the first one here says bunny boots. The one next it says Mickey Mouse white.
Yeah, they're called everything.
Yeah. Now, one of the ones I had back in the day, we're talking again, 1973, were a snowmobile boot, which is basically like a rubber galoshes with a half-inch thick felt liner that you put in. You can pull it out, dry it out, and stuff.
Are you talking about moon boots?
Sort of like moons, but they were sold as for snowmobiles.
Yeah.
And the bottom of them up to about
from the bottom up to the mid part of the ankle, they were rubber.
Yeah.
Above that was a canvas. They usually came with a half-inch fleece liner not fleece,
Yeah.
but it's compressed fleece is what it is. It felt. And we used to put bags over our feet, or put on socks, put bags over our socks on our feet, then put them in the boots. It made getting out of them felt liners a lot easier.
But yeah, the ones we got, it wasn't canvas top. It was a nylon, soft stuff, on it. But
I
yeah,
don't remember who made those. Was it
Several companies.
Yeah, I think everybody did.
Yeah,
The best pair is from Red Wing.
right.
yeah. This jacket here, Spiegel catalog, and it says Spiegel on it. My boom boots, my snowmobile boots said Spiegel on them. That we were up on the northern rim of the Grand Canyon, so just about everything we got that year was ordered through the Spiegel catalog.
And that's old days, folks.
Yeah, Spiegel's. Dustin, if your feet are cold, put something over your head. If your hands are cold, stick them in your pocket. Okay, your hands are hands. It's because of the tiny little digits that are exposed to the cold. They don't have the protection your feet do. That's why when your feet are cold, you better find out what else is cold. And it's usually your head.
Well, plus all the blood rushes to wherever it's cold, which puts you under exposure if need be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the
what I
fastest
forgot.
way. That's the fastest way to get frostbite.
Yep.
Okay.
I had a coonskin cap around here with eyeballs in it. I just don't know where I put it.
All right. So Sean in Alaska was asking about sorrel boots. That's these things here. These they're like the liner's doesn't come out of it. The ones I had, actually, the liner.
Just Google 1970 snow boots.
I got those boots still. They're out in the cargo container. I just forgot to bring them in. But yeah, I'm seriously. It's like a 1/2 inch, 5-inch thick, felt liner in the sucker. And it's we'd come in, we'd kick off the boots at the door, and we just wear the liners around inside the house.
Yeah, we used to put plastic bags around the liner and then put them in there. We never did it the other way, but.
Yeah.
Well, my biggest problem with them stupid felt liners is I can get my foot in. But when we come in from outside and playing or shoveling or carrying in wood, getting my foot out of that felt liner always was an ordeal. It pulled the felt liner out of the boot. Then you had to try and wiggle it off your feet without ripping the dang thing. So we started sticking. And we used Wonder Bread bags because Walmart wasn't in existence back then.
Yeah. But the liners for my boot, actually, it was split from right in front of the ankle going up the top of it. It was split and it had elastic glued on, so it would stretch, so you pull it on, spread it.
I was a rather impatient child. That rubber elastic didn't stay on there.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that we may have forgotten? Anybody in the side chat? Stuff you think we may have we skipped over that we should cover here real quick? Help everybody out.
No, I think we covered everything. Dave, Gunslinger.
Whatever you dress as, it depends on what situation you're in. It really does.
True.
So, I mean, if you overdress, you're going to sweat too much. When you take off the layers, you could die if it's cold enough.
Yeah.
So
just because you're sweating doesn't mean your body's not developing hypothermia.
Exactly.
That's right.
I used to work in an oil field. I worked for Halliburton and Husky Geophysical. Okay, it's the Halliburton Corporation. And I was working on an oil rig. And we were sweating to half to death, picking up 6 and 8 inch oil field casing. You will build up a sweat. So I started taking layers off. My hands were sweating so bad that my gloves were wet. So I took my gloves off. As an 18-year-old, I thought I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof. I now suffer from the effects of frostbite. Okay, so be smart.
Yeah. Now, just for touching off of that for something, hypothermia, you can get it anytime. If you get over hot and sweating and stuff, and you peel off stuff, and there's a breeze going out, you can super chill your body real quick. When I was working construction many moons ago, we had a couple of the laborers that were down in the ditch because we were in South San Francisco, and South San Francisco is colder than even in the summertime. It's cold over there.
I need to dispel a myth real fast. Michael 58 says, drink warm beverages in the cold weather. Wrong. Okay, because you're bringing your core body temperature the opposite direction you need to go. In the summertime, you drink warm liquid. In the winter time, drink cold liquid. Okay, it keeps your core body temperature in line with your surroundings. You don't want to change it drastically, obviously. I mean, that's not the point. But if you drink warm beverages, you're causing your body to overextend itself metabolically in a way that will cause you to dehydrate and hyperventilate and go into all kinds of very bad bodily functions. If I'm going to be outside for an extended period of time, I take water in the wintertime. I'll drink coffee here in the house, but if I'm going to be outside, I'm not taking warm liquids out there. Two main reasons. One I just said. Second, warm liquids out in cold air will freeze faster than cold water will. Take a glass, wait till it gets 32 degrees outside. Take a glass of hot tap water and a glass of cold tap water. Set them out on your porch and tell me which one freezes faster.
Has to do with the molecular structure of steam and ice are the same. They're hexagonal shape, whereas liquid water is not. Is something different. But when they start to turn to steam, it changes into a hexagonal pattern. And same thing with freezes.
Right.
And that's also both steam and ice are expanded. Okay.
Yeah, but depending on the situation, you might want something that's warm just for a mental stability. You know,
right.
When I'm out and about, I'm drinking coffee, I'm drinking hot chocolate. It's just something I dig.
I mean, right. If you're going to be outside for an extended period of time working on something, then I fully endorse a nice hot cup of coffee out there after an hour and a half, 2 hours out in the woods cutting wood. But for the most part, I drink cold liquids, and I learned that the hard way living up in Michigan.
All right, let me finish up here with something on the talking about the hypothermia. So when I was working construction, we had these guys that were, the laborers down in the ditch, shoveling the rock, moving the pipe, and everything else. And then when it comes time for lunch, they climb out. They're just, they're so hot and stuff. They, peel off some of the stuff because they had no place to hang their coats down in the ditch. Peeled it off, and they're like, I'm no longer sweating. And in 5 minutes, they were middle of summer. They were shivering. And the same thing can be said for hyperthermia, getting too hot. You put too many layers on, or you just have one big old massive heavy duty layer, and you're, like the rain suit, we've all sealed up, and you could be, minus 16 outside, but inside your suit, you're 120 degrees, and you can overheat. So you got to watch your surroundings and watch your clothing and make sure they match.
Again, Michael, I'll go back to the point I made a minute ago. Yeah, I know what they give you in winter survival training. Been through it. I also know what I learned growing up, and I argued with my instructors to the point of getting myself in trouble for arguing with them until they went and talked to a few physicians and found out, guess what? I was actually correct. If you're out now in survival training, you're not out there for 2-3 months in, Alaska, Siberia, wherever. You're 3-4 weeks. During that 3 or 4 weeks, you can get away with drinking warm beverages multiple times a day. But from growing up in it and living it, I drink cold beverages during the winter because it helps keep your body core temperature in line where it needs to be. And if you can keep your core temperature in check, the rest of your body you can keep in check.
It also depends on if you can hold that heat inside you. Mm-hmm. If you drink something really warm, if you can retain the heat that it's giving you, makes a big difference too. If you're still wearing if your clothing isn't good enough or your layering isn't good enough, it might hurt you more than it helps. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So everyone, just a reminder, if you're not subscribed to everybody on the panel here, please go ahead and show your support and check out their channels. They all have some really great videos, and you'll find it interesting. You'll gain some knowledge from them as well.
And not from that stupid SOP guy. He's pretty dumb.
Oh, you got some pretty good ones back there, Dave.
No, Dave has good ones.
Yeah. All right.
I don't mind you, Dave.
What's that?
I said, I don't mind you, Dave.
Yeah. I appreciate
All right,
that. I
so
appreciate that.
we're hitting coming up on the hour mark here. So before we cut out, just want to remind everybody quickly on the coming attractions here. So this Friday is going to be utilizing your food storage. Next Tactical Tuesday is we're going to be covering a lot of stuff from you people out there. It's what is your dream specialty gear?
I'll talk to
And
Mr.
some of my dream specialty gear, that guy down there has those tents. I just love those tents, man. And then the following Friday, which is the last Friday of the month, is going to be a special one. We may go 2 hours on it. We're going to be talking about the fragile food supply chain. And Dave and I have already been working on stuff, getting up information for it. And we're going to be talking about what's going on with the food supply right now, what can go all wrong with it, and how long it's going to take to recover if it goes wrong. So,
Courtney.
Yeah.
Courtney. You and Dustin both have a real big issue. You live in the northern part of the Buckeye and y'all want a cold beer in the wintertime. Are you guys nuts? Children nowadays, you can't teach children anything this day and age. They chew on the corners and stare at the teachers, and they don't get no smarter.
Yeah.
Well, if you drink
like,
enough of them, you'll forget you're cold.
True. You got to be like,
you won't wake up either.
right.
Well,
You
won't
got to be
know
like
it.
me and Dave. Drink warm beer, like the English, warm and chunky.
Oh, wait. What about what this?
German.
What about what the Japanese do? Warm sake.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that anymore.
No, if you want a real beer, go get a German beer. They don't serve it cold. It's not served cold. It's served warm for a reason.
All righty, folks. We're going to wrap it up here now. Any last words from anybody?
See you later. Thanks for having me.
All right. All right, everyone out there. So, as always, everyone, stay happy. Very important. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Stay prepared. And we'll see you in the next one. All right.